sitting here thinking about what happened these past few weeks, and I cannot believe in 2026 in the United States of America we are dealing with murderous troops out there in the middle of the streets killing people. And yeah, I keep calling them ICE Nazis, and I know so many of my colleagues, friends, they don't like me saying that, but the parallels are there. They're nearly indistinguishable from what the Nazis back in World War II did. And Trump's rise to power mimics Hitler's rise to power. And anyone who wants to invest, I don't know, a few hours of their time and read some books or research on how Hitler came to power and compare to how Trump came to power, there's so many parallels, so many almost word for word parallels that define both of these men terms in office. But it's just so unsettling that we have rogue ICE agents violating the law, violating the Constitution. And the only oversight is protecting them, actually, is blaming the protesters, is blaming the people who are out there exercising their very First Amendment, their First Amendment to the Constitution. Those people are not protected by the government, even though literally the amendment is there to protect the people from the government. And current government is not protecting them, it's killing them. How is that even possible in 2026? Like, how far have we drifted away from humanity? How far have we drifted to even allow this happening in 2026? I don't know. But we've drifted pretty far. I hope there's a boat that can take us back. You know, people always say, a lot of people around the country say, if you don't like America, you can go back to wherever the hell you came from. Well, I like America. I just want to come back to the America that I used to know. America it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't ran by incompetence. It wasn't ran by authoritarians. It wasn't run by a crazy person. I mean, crazy person that talks crazy stuff all the time. So, I don't know. Hello there. Hello, Pure Bad AJ. Yeah. So, anyway, my little rant here. But I just want some balance. I want balance to be restored. I want three branches of the government to work, not one branch telling the other two what to do. That's not how the United States government is set up. It's been set up as three equal branches that have checks on power, right? They check the power of the other branch. And that's how it's always worked. And it's not working like that anymore. We have one madman who convinced so many people to follow him and do whatever the hell he says. Let's see. Hey, what state am I from? I'm from Florida, actually. I live in Palm Beach County, where Donald Trump has Mar-a-Lago. So, let's see. Mickey Lousy here. Make America great again at this point, man. Well, I don't know. How do you make America great at a point where America is tearing itself into two or into three pieces? Those who follow Donald Trump, those who hate Donald Trump, and then there's a whole larger part of America that didn't even come out to vote this past election. 70 couple million people voted for Trump, 70 couple million people voted for Harris, and 94 million eligible voters didn't even come out of their houses. They didn't even go vote. So, I mean, and everyone is feeling the difference at the stores, right? Everyone's feeling the pressure when paying bills, right? I definitely am seeing increase in prices at the stores. My grocery bills are definitely a lot higher. One thing I do love is tomatoes, and tomatoes went up in price quite a bit. A little bit lower right now, but for quite a period of time they were really high, and I love tomatoes. That's just me. But I don't know. I don't know how people can just wake up and dismiss what is happening on our streets. They can dismiss listening to a guy who's been best friends with a child predator, with a pedophile for decades, and convicted felon. And he's been, 30 plus women have came out and said that he, one way or another, he sexually assaulted them. He was already convicted of causing a sexual assault, and ordered to pay $95 million, and bragged on TV about walking into dressing rooms of teenage girls during the Miss Teen America pageant while they were undressed. I mean, if you hear all these things and you're like, yeah, that's the guy I want. It's like, how in your right mind can you support someone who's clearly a monster? How? Like, I don't get, like, people will say, well, for his border policies. And what is that doing? What is that doing right now? It's not doing anything. It's not. What is building a wall around the border going to do? Nothing, because 95% of people who come here, who become illegal immigrants, they do so after they overstay on their tourist visas, right? Well, I guess he accomplished one thing. A lot less tourists are coming into the United States. A lot less paid people who pay, especially here in Florida. Florida has seen a dramatic decrease in tourism because nobody wants to come here anymore. You know, I drive around streets here, and this time around, usually there's tons of people from Quebec. There's a lot of New York plates. There's a lot of plates from Michigan. I see them very sparsely right now. Like, honestly, I should be seeing traffic jams filled with these people from New York that come here for the winter, all the snowbirds, or leafers as they call them on the east side over there, you know, because the leaves fell down, so they call them leafers, or snowbirds, that's what they call them, at least in Michigan, where I'm originally from. And I don't see that many people here. This whole influx of New Yorkers after Mamdani was elected was supposed to happen. And guess what? It's not happening. It's not. While people may be calling and inquiring as to properties around here, your average American cannot afford most of the properties in Palm Beach County over here. They're building homes around here, around this area, and the starting price here is $800,000 to $1.2 million in the smaller communities. So, but it's very difficult to find housing right now. Like, I mean, we bought a house in 2020, locked in was like 3% interest rate, and interest rates have been pretty high for a long time. Very long time, actually. They calmed down a little bit, and now he wants to imprison Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell is refusing to cut the interest rate. Well, not him, but the Fed is refusing to cut the interest rates because guess what? That's going to lead into an issue. It's going to lead to another. Well, it's going to lead to an issue anyway. I want to get further into that, but so. Just sheer incompetence, and this whole tariff situation not only did not help anyone, definitely did not help the farmers. To bail out the farmers yet again during this term that Trump is in. He bailed out farmers in his first term. As a matter of fact, he spent a lot more money in his first term. I think it was about $35 billion that he put towards farmers after he screwed them with tariffs against China first time around when he was in office, and now he did more tariffs. And guess what? He bailed them out this time around, right? Because China just stopped buying all of our soy and wheat, and they have no plans to buy anymore. They're going to different countries to buy their soy and their wheat, and they're going to do that. They're going to get better prices. And what's going to happen next year? These farmers are going to plant with what? With the hopes that Donald Trump is going to come through and figure out something. I don't see a plan. I don't hear anything about a plan to rescue the farmers, to make sure that next year they can sell their products, because after all, they do export something like what, 65 to 70% of soybeans are exported to China. And he told China, we don't want you. We're going to tax you on whatever. We're going to put tariffs on all the products that are coming through. So I'm paying the tariffs. My farmers are now going bankrupt, right? And my taxes are now paying for the farmers. Like, if you're a smart person, that fucking doesn't make any sense. Excuse the word. Like, how does this make any sense? Am I going to buy more soybeans? Are you going to buy more soybeans? No. Who the hell's going to buy soybeans? We have enough soybeans in the country. This is why many farmers gave up everything else they were growing in favor of soybeans, so that they can export them to China and make money. And guess what? They're not going to do that anymore. And not only that, so even if next year, right, they let's say they sell 50% of what they could sell this year, what do you think is going to happen with China? China is not going to come back and play with Donald Trump again. For the next how many every years Donald Trump is in power, they're going to be always skeptical of him, and they're always going to say, you know what, maybe America is not the place to do business with. At least not for buying the soybeans. So right now it's winter, so the farmers are chilling. Hopefully they're staying warm. But when the planting season comes around again, what's going to happen then? Is there a plan for that? I didn't hear a plan for that for next year. So let's see. America great again. Send Trump to Greenland and Vance to Iceland. Yeah, we could send them, but they wouldn't know which one, if they're in Greenland or Iceland, because obviously they have no idea. And I don't think Iceland or Greenland wants either one of them. Let's see. Yes, but the farmers voted for him, so that's their own problem. It's true. It's true that majority of the farmers did vote for Donald Trump yet again. So, like, I hate to say it, but they sound like the dumbasses, right? Because the first time they voted for Trump, they got screwed. He bailed them out. Second time around, they voted for Trump. Third time the charm, right? So we'll see what happens next year or this year in the elections, right? So the only way that farmers can redeem themselves right now is if they go vote for Democratic candidates that they can take over the House and they can take over the Senate. And that would be the only way that they could redeem themselves. But if they're going to vote again for their own people, for their own GOP candidates who are going to basically just cater to Trump, they're going to lose again. So, but whatever. Well, anyway, thank you for joining me. I got to go pick up my son, and you guys have a good evening, and maybe I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, guys.